because Serie B is it's a wild league and a lot of things go on. So
it's a wild league. Well said. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of. We're gonna laugh a lot about our predictions.
Guaranteed to be wrong. Let's just
absolutely 100%.
𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝐑𝐨𝐻 are the only team in Veneto for this season because Vicenza failed to get promoted. Venezia went up to Serie A.
I would be happy with Canarese and Reggiana being last and second to last. We are going to be touching upon each and every one of the teams on the league, so stay with us, interact with us, and together we're going to be speaking Serie B. Roma!
Welcome to episode number 10 of Speaking Serie B. Here we have a few things to talk about: managerial changes, Spezia apparently getting a new logo or voting on a new logo, and as well, as always, giving our predictions for this next upcoming round of Serie B action. My name is Jake, creator of 𝐏𝐫𝐞 USA, and together from SPEZIato, Elia, the Italian guy. Elia,
hi Jake.
How have you been
Thank
doing?
You very much for this intro.
Yeah, I felt much better there. Like I felt much calmer and I kind of knew more what I had to say. So
all right, we're improving live after live.
Yes.
So
yes, exactly.
Without further ado, tell us, Gorini has been sacked. This is something that hasn't happened in Cittadella for a very long time. So let's dive right into it and tell us what are your thoughts about the new coach.
Yeah. This is man. It seems like every episode we have like something new, like from Cittadella, whether that's the court case with the Pisa result or a historic loss to Sassuolo. It's always something going on, and it seems like I'm always starting off with like some breaking news or something. But yes, Gorini has been sacked by Cittadella, the first time they've sacked a coach since 1996. So a long time since they last sacked a coach. Now, this was a combination of a few things. This was, obviously they had the 6-1 defeat. As I try to fix my mic here a little bit. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yes. So they had that historically bad loss against Sassuolo. They were just not in a good place. 7 points after 8 games in Serie B. That wasn't, particularly good. They were in 18th place, and I think a lot of the fans were just getting very annoyed by the style of play, kind of like how the direction of the club was going. Obviously, earlier in the year, there was the 8 straight defeats, 4 wins in 2024, only 1 win at home. So this result kind of was like a little bit of the last straw. And, because there hadn't been a performance like that in forever. I mean, that was the heaviest defeat ever. And it was really, it came at a surprise because a few days before the sacking became official, there was a report by Padova Sport that said that the club still had faith in him. The club were set to, stick with him. But then 2 days later, they came out with the result that he's been relieved from his duties.
Yeah, that's often the case. Like you don't know until you know that the coach is being replaced. It's just how most teams handle the situation. Anyhow, before we continue on with this conversation, I wanted to say hi to I don't know how to pronounce it. Paprika Sturorudi, who's somebody who's following us now from Hungary. He has commented our content before, and now he's actively participating to our live. So he's here with us, happy to watch this live, and he has a popcorn yellow stripe smile. So we're ready to go. Sorry if we were a bit late. I saw how eager you were for the show to start. So thank you for being here with us. And please carry on, Jake, with this Cittadella situation and the new coach. What do you think about the new guy?
Yeah. So then
what's a few days
there was some talks of like who's the next coach. Some were saying, Venturato could return after a few years. There was talks of Zaffaroni, I believe, who was, if you remember correctly, Elia, he was the Hellas Verona coach who kept them up at the expense of Spezia, and I believe he was at
What's his name
Roma.
again?
Marco Zaffaroni. He
Okay.
was
Well, no, luckily I don't remember particularly. No, it's all right. It is what it is. You know,
it-
I remove bad events from my mind once that they happen. I try to move on as fast as I can on things. So
yeah. Well, there was talks about him, but they eventually said on Alessandro Dal Canto. He's coached a lot of teams in the past, but most recently with Carrarese about a year and a half ago when they were still in Serie C. He had a Let me pull up his stats real quick. But he's a former player. He's coached in Serie B before with Padova and Vicenza. He's a local guy. He grew up like literally 10 minutes away from Cittadella. So I think he kind of knows the area. Yeah,
is
16.
this the guy?
Yes, Alessandro Dal Canto.
Okay. Go
He's
ahead. Go
right
ahead.
there. Yeah, so you could see Castelfranco Veneto. That's like
Hmm.
literally very, very close to Cittadella. But yeah, 16-year playing career as a left back. He's managed Padova, Vicenza, Venezia, Italy U17, Empoli
Right.
U17, um, Juventus U19, Arezzo, Siena, Livorno, Viterbese, and now Carrarese. So he's won 181 games, drawn 107 games, and 166 games with a 1.43 points per game average. So, I mean, I don't know much about him. Like, I don't know
Hmm.
what formation he's going to use. I think that's still we're going to figure that out in like the next few games or so. Uh,
Hmm.
but at the same time, this is a kind of a move that had to send a signal. That's kind of what
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's why I was expecting it at this point, not because Gorini might not be the right person for the job anymore, although something broke along the line, but because, as I said, they need to send a signal to the supporters, to the locker room. So something needs
Yeah,
to be done, even
yeah,
a wrong decision, but something had to be done by the ownership to
yeah,
show that
yeah.
they're trying to
So
fix what's not
yeah,
working because something isn't working.
yeah. I mean, just 2024 has just been a really bad year for Cittadella, and there was, I believe, Gabrielli, the president, in the press conference. He did say, like these results and kind of like the thoughts of Guarini being dismissed. This run of form started all the way back in February, and
Right.
you know, and I do feel bad for Guarini, and it didn't seem like the club and Guarini kind of were angry at each other or just
Right.
they
Right.
they discuss. I think Marchetti was very apologetic in the press conference, and he felt very sad. He thanked Guarini for
Yeah,
all
there is
he did.
not, as they say in this situation, nothing personal. It's only business. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
nothing
and
against the man, but professionally something had to change. In the meantime, I wanted to say hi to Luca Moletta, who I know is a fan of Cittadella. And Luca, let us know what you think about the Green's sacking and what do you think about the new coach? And I wanted to ask you, Jake. So, if you had to point out one reason in particular, what do you think is what brought Cittadella to select Alessandro Dal Canto for the job? As you said, we don't know much about him right now. We don't know how he's going to have the team play. But do you think it's because he's a local man? He knows the La Piazza. What is one of the reasons? Because maybe he's a motivator. Why do you think they picked? Why do you think they picked him and he might be the right man for the job?
Well, I think, obviously, like I just said, they needed to change something. So just any little bit of change, I think, with new ideas, new, tactics could, change a lot the team. In the press conference, he said that, he was very calm in the press conference about the situation at Cittadella. He said, like these things are normal. It's normal to feel this way, and after a bad run of results. And he said really the results were really the only problem for this team. He believes this team has a very strong structure. They have a very good core. It's just the results haven't been going the way. So I think yes, I think being from the area does play into it, but also
Mhm.
just the given the senior career, Cittadella is not gonna go out and get like you know just some like a really like a Pippo Inzaghi type of guy.
Right, right,
Um,
right. They're not
that
after big names, of course.
yeah, yeah,
It's
they're
not
not
the
gonna
way
go
they
after
manage the
those guys.
situation.
So it's gonna be more of like a smaller type of manager who hasn't really been in these leagues for a long time, but has been proving himself in Serie C, Serie D. That's what happened with Venturato, who came in 2015 um,
Mhm.
after Cittadella got relegated to Serie C. He had never
Got it.
coached in Serie B before, and then his first year in Serie B, he led Cittadella to the playoffs, and that was 6 years straight he did that. So, I'm very curious to see how it's going to play out, but I think also, it's definitely a change that I think was needed. One more thing I wanted to
Absolutely.
say
Please,
about Guarini is that,
please.
I was very fortunate to meet him, when I went to Cittadella. It was just for a brief moment of time, when I went there. I shook his hand, even said, "Thank you" to me, in English. So, apparently he
Yes.
does speak English pretty well. But, just I haven't met him that much. That was the only time, and, but, what I could, tell from what the other journalists, the other people who were around him most of the time, and just seeing like the way he spoke to the media. He's always very respectful. So he does seem like a very good person, to be with. And I think Marchetti said this was the hardest decision of his life because Guarini
Right.
was like
I can
was like a
imagine.
brother to him, and it's just things like this in football happen, and they gotta make a choice. So I mean, I do wish Guarini the best because he
Of
is a
course.
former Cittadella player. He was a former assistant coach, and he was a part of the Cittadella head coach. He did get some big wins, like 2 wins at the Marassi against Genoa and Sampdoria, so that'll always be in the minds of, fans, and especially like, Luca Molletta, who I believe went to both of those games at the Marassi and witnessed those wins, so it's days that he'll never forget.
Absolutely. Made a big part of the history of this team. So absolutely. It just, we read Luca's comment. And yeah, Public Arturo Rudy writes that the live is a little bit lagging. I don't know what to do about it. I think we have the best connection we can have. So maybe it'll get better as the live gets on. I can't do anything to fix it right now. I'm sorry. And reading Lucas' comment, go ahead, please. Feel free to read
Yeah,
the comment.
Lucas says, "I
Yeah.
think that the bad situation the team is living forced the management to fire Guarini. A great number of fans were recently very critic of the against the coach, and many were waiting and hoping for a change." Yeah, I could agree with that. There is, especially online, but I don't like online can't like Facebook and Instagram. I don't think that really tells the whole story of what the fans think. However, there was a lot of calls for just a change in management.
So it
Just
has been a sacking a furor di popolo, as we say, something that when the fan base is really
yeah,
uh,
and I think, the timing is very important too,
demanding for.
just because it's the international break. It kinda gives Dal Canto a full week to work with the team, kind
Exactly.
of
Mhm.
to figure out, and if there was just a really better time to do it, it was right now because they got 2 big games against Cosenza, Cadarese, and then they start a really really hard stretch of games where they play, Sampdoria, Palermo, Bari, Cesena, even Spezia on that run, so it's gonna be, difficult stretch, but,
Right. This is
Luca
another comment by Luca, if you want to read
yes,
this
he
one as
says,
well.
"I don't know if, the new coach is the solution. I hope so." Anyway, Dal Canto presented himself in the press conference really well with a very positive attitude. Yes, I could agree that he was very, optimistic and positive, which really is what the club needs right now.
Absolutely. So, okay, no problem. I think the connection is getting better, and so does our streaming. And here is another comment by Luca.
Yes,
And
he was at the Luigi Ferrari Stadium for both victories against Genoa and Samp. Yes, so
awesome, awesome.
that was that was the first time Cittadella had beaten Sampdoria last year. So and Guarini, he got the double over Palermo, which included a win at the Barbera. Um, you know, he's gotten some good results, even though in like the long term it hasn't been working out. He's still he's kept Cittadella up for 3 seasons, and I think that's all what you could really ask for. However,
Indeed,
I
indeed.
think just with the team, how the team is going, how like the future of the team, especially this year where it's going really bad, I think it was time for a change.
Right, right. And Paprika Sturo Rudy writes, I'm not good at English, so I'm just listening. So, yes, I think your English is pretty good. So, thank you for interacting with us. And I think, I'm not certain just yet, but with the AI increasing its support on the Google platform as YouTube is, there are possibilities in the near future, if not already, to switch even the live into your language, should you want to try to do that. Or at the very least, there could be auto-generated subtitles. But I haven't tried them, so just sharing this. Anyhow, before we move on with making our predictions on round 9, there are, as you mentioned in the intro of today's episode, there are some changes happening in La Spezia as well that are about the logos. We went from this logo, ASC, Associazione Spezia Calcio, which is no longer, we are only Spezia Calcio, to the logo that you see right here, under me, right here, which made a lot of scalpore, there were all, how do you say that, Jake?
I don't know the exact word, but I remember it. It was just like a lot of disagreement, I guess.
Disagreement. A lot of people were talking about what it reminded them of, but the reality of thing is that, to be very philosophic, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So as soon as I saw it, I thought it reminded me of the Batman logo. From somebody else, it was the DC logo. From somebody else was like the swastika. So it depends on how you want to see things. I must say that the first impact wasn't really the best one, but then it grew on me. I learned to appreciate it because I see all the effort that has been put into it. So you can see at the top, this is the eagle. Then there is the SC that is interlined. It's mixed. Exactly. And then the shape of it is being done this way because it's supposed to to evoke the tip of the leading part of a boat, of a ship, being, Liguria on the sea. So there are a lot of signals within it that have been done with a certain mindfulness, trying to convey a message. And these are not all of them. There are several others that now I don't remember. But as of right now, since there has been a lot of complaining in Spezia, a lot of people said they should have asked us because this is something that represents it, so they should have asked at least our opinion. So now Spezia Calcio is been working on for the several past months, and they came up with these designs that I'm going to start showing to you. And currently, today, they started to make people vote on the website which one is their favorite logo in between the 4 that are going to be appearing shortly. These are the logos from the past, and then there will be the current logo that people are voting on. There is the possibility to vote until the end of the current month, and then they might be picking a new logo. I'm saying they might be picking a new logo because in light of the logos that have been created, a lot of people are saying that the current logo is better than any of these. So there is always something to complain about and something not to be happy about. And changement, something that changes is always people are always skeptical about new things. So if you're asking me, this last one that we see right now is my favorite because there is still an eagle within it.
I see
I
it.
can't tell you. Yeah, I can't tell you in which direction the voting is going. I am happy to see that the ownership, that Spezia Calcio is trying to remediate to the mistake they've made to take such a big decision on their own and based only on whatever input they've got from the marketing people. So this is something that represents the team of a city, and it is good. It is polite, at least, to involve the fans in such a big decision. I don't know if you have anything to say. If you want to tell us which one is your favorite, I can replay the video if you want to. I have nothing else to add, and this is something that was happening today. So this is breaking news for us.
Yeah. Well, those were all that was a cool video, but I do wish that it was like there's like all four of them were like lined up one by one.
Right.
Kind of went
very valid point. I'll replay it in the meantime, just if you want to tell us which one is your favorite, and I'm gonna look for a picture where all of them are together. That's a good idea. Go ahead.
Number 2 and number 3, they kind of look similar to each other. Like I don't know if it's very interesting, but honestly, like I do like a lot of these. The number 2 and number 3, obviously, it's kind of more of a crest. It's not a circle. However, if 1 and 4 kind of look similar to each other. However, like you said, I do like the 4 because it has the eagle there, and that kind of represents Spezia well. And it's kind of tilted at an angle, so it kind of gives like a little more of a interesting dynamic there.
Indeed.
However, it's very, very interesting. Here we go. I think right now they're gonna play all of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
They try to go to make something retro because there was a lot complaining about the fact that we like the old ASC or the old FBC. A lot of emotions are related to the past, as it's understandable. I like, as you said, the 4th one also because in between these 4 is the only one that has the eagle, if I'm not mistaken. And among these 4, although it is retro, is probably the most modern one among these short selections of options that we have. So that's it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So you voted for number 4 on the website?
Yes, I did.
That's good. I do like what they're doing because after all they say calcio per I tifosi, which like calcio is for the fans, even though sometimes it doesn't seem that way. But no, this is good. I think that's fair democracy, and people are going to vote on what they feel, and whoever wins majority will be happy with it. So fair play to them. So do you think this is it going to go in effect right away, or is it going to be like for the next season?
No. It's going to definitely be from next season, if at all. Most likely there will be a change, and it will be from next season. For all the marketing purposes, today jersey it can't be remade. For many reasons, they will grab the occasion to do this change in between one season and the other. It cannot be done during the current season. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Well, so let's move on with our predictions. Let me share our file. It's coming up right here. So let me see. Perfect. Yes, it's right here.
International break is finally over.
Say that again.
The international break is finally over. We have one more until the next one, which will be in March. So we get like 3-4 months of just pure club football. No stoppages.
Indeed. So recapping our previous result of round 8, you won by scoring 5 points with my 3 points. Against my 3 point, you caught up on me and took over, and now you're leading 31-29. And this is something we we've updated during the previous live, the 9th episode of Speaking Serie B, now present on both of our channels. Actually, briefly, if you want to tell us where we can find your content, your podcast, and where we can start to follow 𝐏𝐫𝐞 USA, and then we move on with our predictions.
Yep, as always, you could find us Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at 𝐏𝐫𝐞 USA, and the website 𝐏𝐫𝐞-USA.com to read more about the press conferences, the news about Cittadella. You could all find that news recaps, previews, 𝐏𝐫𝐞-USA.com for those things.
All right. As far as I'm concerned, Elia, the Italian guy, mainly on YouTube, but we have content also on Instagram and TikTok, both as Elia, the Italian guy, and the SPEZIato content. So moving on to our prediction for round 9, we'll start with Bari Catanzaro. Do you want to do the honor?
Sure, I'll start off.
Perfect.
So, Bari Catanzaro, this was Friday games. I'm going to go for a draw here. I don't think both teams are not quite there to win. Catanzaro kind of struggling of late, but they did get a late draw against Modena. So I think a draw here.
All right. I was checking the previous result. Bari draw in Cremona 1-1, and Catanzaro draw at home with Modena. So in light of this, I see that Bari is in 12th position with 10 points, 5 consecutive positive results in the last 5 games, 3 draws and 2 wins. And Catanzaro has 8 points in 8 games, 16 plays, with 3 draws, 1 loss, and 1 win. So I'm going to say Bari Catanzaro 1. I hope that the Galletti are going to win this game. Next one is Cittadella Cosenza. It's not an easy game, and we have a new coach, as we mentioned, for Cittadella. Cosenza is not going through a very easy situation. I think there are more penalization points coming their way. Maybe we'll have the possibility to talk about it in the next few episodes. You're still missing a home win for a very long time, correct? As you've been saying. Since January. It's almost a year. So Cosenza lost the most recent game at home with Südtirol, with one more man on the field for most of the game, if I'm not mistaken. And Cittadella comes from the brutal defeat in Reggio Emilia with Sassuolo 6-1. So both teams really need to win. Cittadella is in the 18th place with 7 points, 3 losses, 3 consecutive losses, 1 draw and 1 win in the last 5 games, and Cosenza 2 losses, 2 draws and 1 win. I really sympathize for the Wolves, but I wish you guys the best, so I'm going to say 1.
Wow. First win in over, 9-10 months?
It has to happen, man. It has to happen. Sooner or later, it has to happen. Come on.
Okay, well, I will just say right now that I won't be able to watch the game. I will be
Ouch.
I will be traveling, so I cannot. I will not be able to watch this game, unfortunately.
They win. Well, you're not watching them. You're not allowed to watch any more games.
Of course, I know. Like I can already tell. Like the one game that I do miss, the one home game that I'm not watching is the one that Cittadella eventually win. But I think, man, this is a really big game. This is they're really calling this kind of like a scontri diretti, like a
indeed, yeah, exactly.
Even though it's only October, this seems like a huge game that will have big implications come the end of the season.
Yeah, because at this point I can't say that Alvini is in a comfortable seat. Maybe it might be a risk already, even in Cosenza, poor guy. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Cosenza obviously sitting bottom of Serie B, Cittadella in the relegation zone as well. With the new coach, I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from Cittadella in this game. However, man, it's so hard because like I haven't seen Cittadella win at home in forever, and like I'm just like so low on confidence about their chances. However, I will say with the new coach, I don't know what you guys say in Italian, but in English we have this term like the new manager bounce, which is like as soon as you change managers, you instantly get
Mhm.
results, like 3, 4 wins in a row until it kind of steadies down. It's just based on like enthusiasm and
Hopefully that is gonna be the case, guys.
I think it will be the case, and I think 𝐵 will win this game. For whatever reason, I
Alright.
feel like 𝐵𝐾𝐞 is gonna work a masterpiece here. I could also
Alright.
see a
Best of
draw.
luck.
However, if they lose again, then that's not gonna be good. I will tell you
So
that.
your prediction is a 1?
Yes, one,
Okay,
one.
perfect, perfect. All right.
𝐵
I just want to
new
make sure
manager
that
bound.
I show the right slideshow, let's say, the right clip. All right, moving on. The next game of the 9th round will be Südtirol Pisa. What are your thoughts? What is your prediction on this game?
Yeah, Pisa is still doing very well. Südtirol is like inconsistent. They win one game, they lose one game. They either win. I believe they have no draws so far this year. So
They're correct. 4 wins and 4 losses. Correct.
I think that inconsistency will continue. I'm going to go with a Pisa win here, playing it safe. Pippo Inzaghi still doing wonders at Pisa. They will continue their lead at the top of the league.
Okay, I'll be brief on this because, as you said, 4 wins, 4 losses for Südtirol. So, statistically, sooner or later, they will have to draw, and I hope for Pisa to stop their pace, to slow down a little bit. So, I'm gonna not predict, but hope for a draw.
I could see that happening too, but I'm going to go for a 2 victory for Pisa.
Got it. The next game to predict is Salernitana Spezia. Oh, ma! It is definitely going to be a difficult game. Maggiore, ex Aculotto, is not going to take part of this game, I assume. We were chatting with Luca Esposito, journalist for Tutto Salernitana, among many other collaboration that he has with Tutto Mercato Web and so forth and so on. And he was telling us that Maggiore would be already a Venezia player, but the market window closed during the negotiation, so he would have left. It has been used, let's say, it has been put on the pitch several times by the current coach, but currently is also injured. So I don't think he will be able to take part of this game, but they will have Daniele Verde, who's been one of the main protagonists of this start of the season, especially with the game with Pisa, because he caused the penalty. And he hasn't scored yet, and I hope it will remain this way, at least for the game on Saturday. Salernitana is a completely different team compared to the one that Spezia met in Coppa Italia, so it is difficult to predict, and they are coming off a very good streak of results. Is team in a increasing, in a better shape. In the last 5 games, they lost 2 games, and then they drew 2, and they won the most recent game in Palermo with Palermo, of course. So they're in very good shape. I do hope that Spezia will continue to remain undefeated. So my prediction for Salernitana Spezia is X.
Okay, well, like you said, a lot has changed since that Coppa Italia game, which you were at, if I'm not mistaken, back in August at the Arecchi Stadio. I Spezia, the only undefeated team. Actually, I think I saw a stat that Spezia in 2024 were the 3rd best team in year of 2024, just by points tallies and stuff. So credit to Mr. D'Angelo for getting that streak. However, I think the things will come to an end. I'm gonna predict a narrow Salernitana win. So 1 for that. It's probably going to be like a 1-0 game, maybe 2-1.
I respect that. Absolutely. I can see that happening. Hopefully it's not the case, but I agree. It could be. All right. Next game is Modena-Palermo.
It's my turn. Modena, Palermo. For some reason, like Palermo is just so good on the road and very bad at uh, at home. They've already played 5 away games, Palermo. So I'm I'm gonna say a Palermo win. I'm predicting a lot of the safe picks in these games, but I honestly think Palermo will win this game against Modena team who's been tricky in the past. However, Palermo I think just has better quality up front, which will make the difference.
I would agree with this consideration, of course. Yeah, Palermo is a better team on paper. Modena comes from the draw with Catanzaro in Catanzaro, and they were leading, if I'm not mistaken. So it wasn't a good performance by the team managed by, now I don't remember the name, but I like the
Easily.
guy. Bisoli, thank you very much. So, eh, I don't want to predict another X. Predicting Modena win is a bit too bold.
We said that many times in the past about some results, thinking it won't happen, and then it happens.
I sympathize for Palermo, but I don't dislike Bisoli, although Modena isn't a team that I particularly sympathize for. But should I predict? Let's see 1 second. So Palermo 11 points, Modena 9 points. Palermo just lost with Salernitana in Palermo. Modena draw, as we said previously. Palermo won with Südtirol 3-1 in Bolzano, and Modena lost with Sampdoria in Modena. They can't lose another home game. Come on. So I'm gonna say yet again X.
X. Okay.
Next game is Brescia-Sassuolo. So this, while what did we say? While Cittadella-Cosenza is a scontro salvezza, this is a scontro for the vertice.
Yeah.
The Sassuolo is in 3rd place, Brescia is in 5th place. Only 2 points separates the two, with Brescia being behind, of course. 4 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses for Brescia, and 4 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss for Sassuolo. How is Brescia performing at home?
Very good. The only team to beat them was Guarini's Cittadella at home.
Huh. They won 3-2 with Cremonese. We talked a lot about it, I remember. Right.
With that Cittadella game also with 10 men. Cittadella.
Right. So, in light of this, Brescia-Sassuolo, I'm going to predict 1. Hopefully, they will continue to be undefeated at home, so that when Spezia is going to be in Brescia, can defeat them for the first time. We're going to be playing in Brescia on Tuesday 29th, and I'll be there.
Wow. That will be interesting. Yeah, I mean, Sassuolo, it's going to be a much harder game than the one against Cittadella before this international break. This is going to be a really good game. I feel, just Brescia are just very, very good team. Sassuolo, obviously one of the favorites in this league. So I'm going to say, I'm also going to agree with you. I'm going to say 1, just because I like Brescia's home form, and they've gotten some big wins in the past, like against Frosinone, Cremonese, even against Südtirol. So yes, Brescia win.
All right. Next game is Juve Stabia Cremonese. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about how Juve Stabia's good start to the league. They beat Pisa the other time, which I forgot what they did the game prior. Let me just check.
Sure.
Oh yes, they did beat Sampdoria the last match day. So
all right, Sampdoria was winning, and then they got caught up, and
yeah, Cremonese with the new coach after Stropa was sacked. So man, this is I'm also gonna say Cremonese with the new manager with win. So 2 for me.
All right. Last night I was guest of Enrico Lazzari in the live of the Tuesday night of Spezia Calcio news, and we were saying how difficult it's going to be for any team. But we were talking about Juve Stabia because Spezia will be playing in Castellammare di Stabia in November, I think in a month, the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. And Juve Stabia is one of the very few teams that has a pitch that's completely synthetic.
Yes,
So even the ball plays differently. It's more unpredictable, even the way it bounces for the goalkeeper. So when we say il fattore campo, we normally talk about the presence of the supporters and the energy that they produce. But in Castellammare di Stabia, the fattore campo has to take into account even this kind of field. And I think the only other team in the league, maybe there might be another one, but for sure another team that's going to have this kind of advantage, let's say, will be Carrarese once that they come back to the Stadio di Marmi, which should be from this upcoming round 9. So in light of all this would be an easy prediction because you think Juve Stabia, newly promoted. Cremonese is one of those teams like Palermo that's supposed to be among the protagonists of the current season. It's an easy 2, but it really isn't. So Juve Stabia is in great shape. So in light of Di Fattore Campo and the new coach for Cremonese and the very good form of Juve Stabia, I'm going to dare to say 1. Okay. A lot of 1s for me. I haven't predicted a 2 this week yet, I guess, this round. Yeah, I haven't. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's all good. One thing I want to add, that
Please.
was, I believe Carrarese has an artificial pitch. I know Virtus Entella had one when they were in the league a few years ago. Lecco had one last year. So, definitely hard to play on. But I just think Cremonese with the new manager, with Corini in charge with a
Gurini, right, from Palermo, right? You said it was a Palermo, right? Correct.
Yes, I think he'll grind out a win there.
All right. Next game is Reggiana Frosinone. Reggiana comes from the loss with Spezia, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, in La Spezia. And Frosinone lost at home with Carrarese. Here we have another bench at risk with Vivarini coming from Catanzaro. So he cannot afford to lose yet another game with Reggiana, which is not at the best of his form. So I wish Roberto Stegoni's team the best, but on this one, I'm going to predict my first 2 of the week.
Okay. Yeah, every week I feel like I say, okay, this is the week where Frosinone wake up, or this is the week where they finally get a result. And after that game against Carrarese, I really do think, unless something drastic changes, it'll be like a kind of a similar season to what Spezia did last year. Vivarini still in charge of Frosinone, which I can't believe Guarini got sacked before Vivarini, which was very, if you compare the two clubs, you'd expect the Frosinone manager to lose his job first. So, man, Reggiana still not that great at home as well, because they struggled last year at home. Frosinone, I'm losing trust in Frosinone. I'm gonna.
I don't blame you.
I'm gonna put a X here, a draw, because after the break, I think Frosinone kind of, maybe they kind of reset a little bit, kind of like cheated a little bit. I don't think it'll be enough for a win.
Okay. Next game to predict is Carrarese Mantova, the meeting between 2 newly promoted teams. It's your turn to start with the prediction, Jake.
Yeah, I believe this is Carrarese's first match at their home stadium since being promoted. So they're finally back home, fresh off that win. Well, I guess not fresh because it happened like 2 weeks ago. But that win against Frosinone. It's Mantova, which has proved to be a bit of a tricky team, but kind of, up and down, kind of like Südtirol. I think with the home crowd in front of them, the just energy back to their home, I'm gonna say with a Carrarese win. So put 1 there.
All right. So Carrarese Mantova for sure. Sorry, this is your prediction. Sorry, I put it on my one. correct me if you've seen me make these mistakes, because it can happen. Anyhow, Carrarese Mantova. Mantova proved to be a much more reliable team in this first beginning of the season, so it could be an easy tool for me to predict. But as you said, Carrarese just won the most recent game. There has been the break. They come back in Carrara, Stadio dei Marmi. So these are all important components to take into account. But I just think that Mantova is a more solid team. So I'm going to stick with my gut and predict my second 2 of these rounds. So 2 for me.
Okay.
Then they're going to draw, and we're all both going to be wrong, as it often happens. But this is Serie B. The last game of round 9 is Cesena Sampdoria, and it's my turn to predict. So, all right, give me some time. It's so unpredictable to predict. So, Cesena comes from the loss in Pisa. Legit. I mean, Pisa this season is a very difficult team to face, although Cesena is the team that most impressed me playing against Spezia in Spezia, and I watched them live, if I'm not mistaken. But anyhow, they did win with Mantova 4-2 in Cesena, and Sampdoria is just not convincing. 15 plays, 8 points in 8 games. In the last 5 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. The new coach, because Pirlo has been sent away. How many games did the current coach coach Sampdoria for? Do you remember, Jake?
Looking at right now, Pirlo got sacked about 3 games into the season, so I believe now this is going to be his 6th game in charge.
Already, okay. Okay. So Sampdoria comes from the loss with Juve Stabia, and previously they won with Modena 3-1. Just
they also won a derby.
Right, in Coppa Italia. Cesena Sampdoria, X. Just because in the doubt, I'm just going to throw it this way. I'm going to be middle ground. I'm so indecisive that I don't know what to pick as a winner. So X. Go ahead.
Oh man, this is hard because I can't see Sampdoria losing another game and plummeting them down the relegation zone. Cesena's been really good at home. They're still undefeated, 3 wins, 1 draw at home. So they're proving to be a tough team to play in Cesena. So man, I could see this being a Cesena win. I could also see Sampdoria winning.
Right.
Man, I want to say it's going to be a draw, but just to kind of be a little different, I'm gonna say Cesena. I'll say Cesena.
All right.
1. They'll continue their good home form.
Good. It's good to disagree for the sake of our own game, at least. So these are our prediction for round 9. You're welcome to revisit them once the live is not going to be live, and go back with the video. If you want to know how many of these results are going to be correct for Jake or correct for me, and continue on with the results of our little game, we do invite you to participate to our next live that will take place next Wednesday 23rd at 7 p.m. CET as usual. Jake, is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up today's episode?
Nope, that's gonna be it. I will be recording my own podcast. Should be out this week, so it's an important one because we are going to previewing that huge match against Cosenza on the weekend, talking about Dal Canto's debut as a head coach. Also later tonight, if you want to tune in, I will be a guest on Lotta con I Lupi with Antonio Paropoli. I believe that's his last name.
Palopoli, yes, Antonio Palopoli, indeed.
Yeah, so Lotta con I Lupi on you can find it on YouTube. I will be joining around 10 p.m. European time. That's about 4 p.m. in East Coast time on the United States, but it starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern or 9:30 European. So if you want to hear me try to speak Italian, even though it might not go well, feel free to join that. But I'll be live.
Every time you tried, you did great, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. So
I'm
you got
confident.
it.
I've done a few shows in the past with it, so I look forward to talking about it and talking about Guarini's dismissal and 𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝑑𝐨𝐻's first game in charge.
Arrival, indeed. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. As far as we're concerned for the SPEZIato content, we do remind you that we're going to be live for the live reactions of the next Spezia game in Salerno with Salernitana. And right after that, there will be the live of the Impressioni a Caldo with various calls with fans in Salerno and in La Spezia as usual. And normally these are becoming more and more international lives, so feel free to join in, participate to the live, interacting through the chat as you did today. Thank you very much for following our content. We do invite you to subscribe to both of our channel, put a like, share the content as usual, and we'll see you on the next one next Wednesday, 7 p.m. CET. We will be speaking Serie B.